These 10 women didn't start a revolution, they simply stopped asking permission. And in doing so, they revealed a fear that Thai pop culture rarely admits out loud. A future where the next generation no longer waits to be accepted, they just exist. For years, Ploy Chamarn embodied the archetype of the perfect Thai leading lady, beautiful, composed, and seamlessly integrated into heterosexual romance narratives crafted by film and television. Her public image was carefully engineered to sustain an illusion that leading actresses exist within a fantasy economy designed primarily for male desire. When Ploy openly identified as bisexual, the disruption was immediate and intense, not because of scandal, but because of expectation. At the height of her fame, audiences were not prepared to reconcile her real-life identity with the symbolic role she had been assigned. Thai media has long allowed women to perform same-sex intimacy on screen, often stylized, temporary, or tragic, while discouraging them from claiming that desire authentically off-screen. By speaking openly, Ploy collapsed the boundary between performance and reality. What unsettled many critics was not her sexuality itself, but the implication behind it. Female desire does not require male validation. By removing herself from the illusion of symbolic availability, Ploy exposed how deeply patriarchal expectations are embedded in celebrity culture. Her honesty forced audiences to confront a difficult truth. Actresses are not fantasies. They are individuals with agency, desire, and autonomy. That realization alone made her quietly revolutionary and deeply controversial. As a former Miss Grand Thailand, Engpha Waraha represents more than personal success. Beauty queens in Thailand are often elevated as moral symbols, embodiments of grace, femininity, and national pride. Their personal lives are expected to reinforce heteronormative ideals. That is precisely why Engpha's openness about loving women ignited public debate. She never staged a dramatic coming-out moment, nor did she insist on defining her sexuality with labels. Instead, she chose something far more radical: visibility without apology. Her relationships were not hidden, denied, or explained away. Supporters saw courage. Critics saw defiance. Accusations that she was damaging the image of beauty queens revealed a deeper anxiety. Queerness becomes threatening when it enters spaces considered respectable, symbolic, or authoritative. Entertainment may tolerate LGBTQ+ presence, but institutions tied to national identity demand conformity. Engpha's existence alone challenged an unspoken rule: queer people may be visible, but never representative. By refusing silence, she exposed how fragile the concept of traditional image truly is. Gaji Tachikorn's impact does not rely on spectacle, controversy, or declaration. Her influence lies in consistency. As an openly lesbian television host appearing regularly on mainstream programs, Gaji brings LGBTQ+ presence into ordinary, everyday spaces. Her sexuality is not framed as a headline, a conflict, or a lesson. It simply exists. This subtle form of representation is often more unsettling than overt activism. Queerness is easier for conservative audiences to tolerate when it is exaggerated, distant, or confined to comedic roles. What disrupts comfort is normality. Gaji represents a quiet but powerful cultural shift. When LGBTQ+ individuals are seen daily, without justification or explanation, they stop being perceived as others. Familiarity replaces fear. For many viewers, she may be the first openly queer person they encounter, not through protest or scandal, but through routine media consumption. That repeated exposure reshapes attitudes gradually, embedding acceptance into the social fabric. In a media environment obsessed with drama, Gaji's ordinariness becomes revolutionary. She proves that representation does not need to be loud to be transformative, it only needs to be constant. Aum Sushar has long been associated with a sweet, gentle, traditionally feminine image. That is precisely why her calm remarks about fluid attraction unsettled certain audiences more than loud declarations ever could. She spoke without drama, without provocation, and without defiance. Love, she suggested, does not need to be limited by gender. For critics, this posed an unusual problem. There was no rebellion to condemn, no scandal to sensationalize, no sharp edges to attack. Just a woman, quietly refusing to be placed inside a predefined box. Aum's case reveals a deeper cultural tension within Thai pop culture. Femininity is celebrated. Queerness is tolerated so long as it remains coded, comedic, or distant. But when softness and queerness coexist naturally, without apology, the discomfort becomes harder to articulate. Her impact lies not in confrontation, but in contradiction. She disrupts expectations simply by existing outside them, proving that queerness does not require a hardened exterior or radical presentation to be real. Chris Horwang's openness about being bisexual was marked by something rarely seen in Thai celebrity culture: directness. There was no hesitation, no softening of language, and no attempt to cushion the truth for public comfort. She stated her identity clearly and moved on. This Western-style frankness clashed sharply with Thai cultural norms, which often prioritize subtlety, emotional restraint, and indirect expression, especially from women. Critics labeled her too outspoken or attention-seeking, not because of her sexuality, but because of her refusal to perform modesty. Supporters, however, saw something refreshing: a woman unwilling to dilute herself to fit expectations. Chris became controversial not for who she loves, but for how unapologetically she claimed her space. In a society where harmony is often valued over honesty, her transparency felt disruptive. Her presence challenged the idea that queerness must be expressed gently to be acceptable. Toni Rakine has consistently avoided attaching fixed labels to her gender expression or sexuality. In an entertainment environment obsessed with classification, this refusal alone became provocative. Interviewers pressed for clarity, headlines searched for definitions, audiences demanded answers. Toni offered none. Her resistance exposed a deeper societal discomfort, not with queerness itself, but with ambiguity. Labels provide structure, familiarity, and control. They make identities easier to explain, market, and consume. Toni's refusal disrupted that system. Rather than positioning herself as confusing or contradictory, Toni implicitly questioned why clarity is demanded at all. Why must identity always be translated into categories for public comfort? Her controversy illustrates how deeply society relies on naming as a form of containment. By remaining undefined, Toni reclaimed authorship over her own narrative and revealed how unsettling true autonomy can be. As a young actress who openly identifies as lesbian, Namtan Tipnari represents a clear generational shift in Thai entertainment culture. Unlike many public figures before her, she did not treat coming out as a dramatic milestone or a carefully timed confession. It was simply part of who she is. There was no long narrative arc of secrecy, speculation, or gradual revelation. Her identity was present from the beginning, integrated naturally into her public life. Younger audiences largely embraced this authenticity. For them, visibility without justification felt normal, expected, even. But older viewers and more conservative commentators reacted differently. They criticized Namtan for being too open too soon, suggesting she had skipped an unspoken process of restraint and gradual acceptance. This response reveals a deeper anxiety. The discomfort was not about her sexuality itself, but about speed and permission. Previous generations of queer celebrities were expected to wait, to soften the truth, to negotiate acceptance slowly. Namtan did none of that. The debate surrounding her reflects a growing fear within traditional media culture that the next generation will no longer ask for approval to exist. And once permission is no longer requested, control becomes impossible. Milin Yuvachara School occupies a space rarely associated with open queerness in Thailand: high fashion. As a designer known for conceptual depth and luxury aesthetics, she blurred the boundaries between identity, creativity, and cultural power. Openly loving women, Milin did not compartmentalize her queerness. Instead, she allowed it to inform her work, its themes, silhouettes, and narratives. In doing so, she brought queer perspectives into elite fashion spaces traditionally dominated by conservative, heteronormative values. Critics accused her of pushing an agenda, a phrase often used when marginalized identities enter spaces of prestige and authority. Supporters countered with a simple truth: fashion has always been political. It reflects power, ideology, and social change, whether it admits it or not. Milan's controversy lies in her refusal to separate creativity from identity. She challenged the notion that queerness belongs only to subcultures or entertainment niches, asserting instead that it has a rightful place in high culture. By doing so, she unsettled a hierarchy that prefers diversity as spectacle but resists it as authorship. When Dao Pimthong acknowledged attraction to both men and women, the reaction was marked by skepticism rather than support. Like many bisexual women in the public eye, she faced accusations of confusion, experimentation, or strategic ambiguity. Her identity was questioned in ways that monosexual identities rarely are. Some dismissed her experience as a phase, others framed it as a publicity tactic. Very few accepted it at face value. This response exposes a persistent and deeply rooted prejudice. Bisexuality is often treated as less legitimate, less stable, and less real than other sexual identities. For women especially, bisexuality disrupts the desire for clear narratives. It resists easy categorization and challenges binary thinking about attraction. Rather than embracing that complexity, society often attempts to invalidate it. The controversy surrounding Dao reveals more than personal bias. It highlights a broader discomfort with female sexual autonomy that cannot be neatly explained or controlled. Her experience underscores how far cultural acceptance still has to go when it comes to acknowledging complexity as truth, not confusion. Nine Pornapan came out while still maintaining a devoted idol fanbase, an ecosystem built almost entirely on romantic fantasy, emotional projection, and the illusion of intimacy. Unlike actors or television hosts, idols are not merely admired, they are imagined into relationships with fans. For some supporters, Nene's openness was met with admiration and relief. For others, it felt like betrayal. This reaction exposed a fundamental truth about idol culture. Fans are often encouraged implicitly or explicitly to feel a sense of emotional ownership. The idol's identity is carefully managed to sustain profitability, desirability, and accessibility. When that illusion fractures, the discomfort quickly turns into backlash. Nene's controversy had nothing to do with morality. There was no claim of wrongdoing. Instead, the tension revolved around control. Who gets to define an idol's truth, the individual living it, or the audience investing in the fantasy? By choosing honesty over illusion, Nene disrupted an industry that depends on silence. Her coming out forced a confrontation with an uncomfortable reality. Idols are people first, not emotional products. That realization remains deeply unsettling for a system built on curated desire.